ever have one of those moments where you do something and you just immediately regret it? I totally ruined it. Ruined. Let me turn it back off so you can hear me. So this thing, I totally ruined it, but it's for a good reason. I'm pretty sure both, at least one of the converters was completely clogged up. You can still kind of see on the body right in here where it was just blowing soot onto it. So in kind of like a hasty spur of the moment decision, because I was tired of wasting gas just flooring it up hills trying to blow the converter out, I decided let's just hack them off, and I hacked them like right behind the converters in kind of hopes that it would still be somewhat drivable, and it sucks. It really sucks. I hate straight pipes, like more than a lot of things. I really don't like straight pipes. There are a few exceptions where straight pipes are good, but like daily drivers, no, not bueno at all. So I'm really hoping that I can find some time today to actually put an exhaust system back on this thing and actually make one. The one that was on it was just really crappy. I thought about just like cutting the converters off and welding in straight pipe there, but it was a really stupid setup. They had it like going from each side of the engine, necking over like right next to each other, but still individual pipes. And then there was two converters, and then they went into a muffler that was 2 in, 2 out, and then they put the pipe together, and it was a single from like the rear wheel on back. And aside from that just being like a really stupid kind of design to me, like I don't know why they didn't just have the 2 converters and then like a 2-to-1 muffler if you're gonna have just one pipe out the back anyway. Aside from it being like a really stupid kind of convoluted design, it was severely corroded. In my experience, whenever you go to like a muffler shop or anything like that and they weld you up some exhaust, they never like coat it with anything and it rusts out really quickly. So I think that exhaust system was only like 4 or 5 years old, the guy said. Well, maybe 5 or 6 now because we had the truck for about a year. But like all around the welds, it was really rusty. So what I'm going to do today is I've got a bunch of 2.5 inch pipe, and this thing's not going to need 3 inch pipe. It's not a performance vehicle, it just needs an exhaust system on it. I've got a bunch of 2.5 inch pipe left over from doing James Brown's turbo kit, and from the stock manifolds there's like the collectors there, and then they neck it up to 3 inch for whatever reason. I guess just the sound of it, but there's a pretty good portion of 2.5 still left. I'll cut it there and just add on to it, and I'll probably bring it over and Y pipe it and then just do one muffler right around there, because I've got this real like terrible habit of making things way more complicated than they need to be. So I might just try to keep it simple stupid on this one. Just bring it over to a Y pipe, put a muffler like right around here, and then probably just dump it or kick it off to the side or something like that. Because right now this thing, I can't haul my kid in this. It would blow his eardrums out, and he doesn't like to keep those earmuffs on. So let's head over to the garage. Hopefully the hoist is free and we'll start figuring out something for this. Alright, just got over to my dad's garage. Looks like the hoist will be free for a little bit, so we'll be able to work on the exhaust for this thing. And quick little sneak peek over there that trying to gather some parts to put a real tire on that truck, and still got to fix a few other issues with it, but that's a whole other video. So here is all the leftover piping that I've got. I've got 4 length sections and a bunch of elbows and U's and 45s and stuff like that. I'm hoping with all that leftover stuff I should be able to figure out some sort of exhaust system. Then I just have to run and get a muffler for it. So yeah, I'm going to pull the Suburban in, lift it up, probably let it cool off a little bit because I'm not a fan of getting burnt, and then just start working on the exhaust, figure something out. Okay, so there you can see one cat was right here. That one was easy to get to. The other one, for whatever reason, was right up here. And that one wasn't so easy to get to because we didn't feel like dropping the cross member and everything. So Captain Inferno just torched it, which was more of a chore than you would expect. But yeah, here's the exhaust system that we're working with. Now, so the plan I was talking about earlier, you can see right up here, maybe you can see, right up here is the stock 2.5 inch pipe, and then right about here they neck it up to 3 inch, right there. A little warm. Anyway, all this is still good, so I was just thinking to myself, maybe what I'll do is I'll just get a piece, like a quick little elbow, just an off-the-shelf, horrible, like crimple bent elbow, and just wide this together right here, and then leave all this in, put a muffler right here that'll be like 3 in, 2.5 out, or whatever, and then just spend the rest of the day building something going up and over. So I thought I had a plan for it today, but that quickly kind of disappeared because now I'm not so sure. It would be super nice to have it come back out here. I think we might still have this up and over the axle section. Let me go look. Oh, hey, cool, we did keep it. Sweet. So yeah, there you can see what I was talking about earlier, how it's 2 in, 2 out, and then they Y it right there. And I don't get it. But, you know, whatever. And you can see what I was talking about with some of they didn't even weld the top right there, like, at all on either side. That's weird and lazy. Muffler shops, man. So much of this wasn't welded. Holy crap, look at that far side there. What the heck? So yeah, I might snag this up and over section, because that's all still good. Oddly enough, it's just where they welded it that the thing freaking sucks. I'm gonna have to do some more thinking and figure out a plan again. God dang it. Okay, so I was doing a little bit of thinking, and I can't really call this video building a custom exhaust system or whatever I called it for the Suburban if I don't build an actual exhaust system. So even though we're gonna be going from 3 inch to 2.5, I'd rather just build something myself. It'll fit a little bit better. The main thing is, like, I want to spend as little on this as possible, and I've got a ton of 2.5 inch laying around. Like, I want it done right, because I want to sell this eventually, and I don't like selling like half-assed shit. And usually when I do, I'm pretty like open about it, but I don't like doing it. I know that the videos are gonna show like a lot of half-assery, and that's just the nature of YouTube videos, but like in my personal life, I try to put like the most amount of effort and skill that I can into something, so I'm gonna try to do the same with this. So we are going to stick with the original plan and hack these off. I'll do a 90 over, I might try to hack it a little bit closer to this oxygen sensor if you guys can see at all what I'm talking about, because it starts to bend out a little bit. So if I hack it closer to this firewall or the oxygen sensor, it'll come more straight down, and then that 90 will be right about in here, and then I can angle it across, and then I'll do about the same thing here, but I'll have a 45 coming down, so it should be about this same plane. And then I'll have to do a little bit of a, well, maybe I might have to do a little bit of a sectioned piece here, and then I'll probably do a 45 and Y that in, and then probably see, all these freaking like cross members here is what makes it difficult. If I can get it up high enough so that it's closer to the floor, but not so close that it starts like melting people's shoes, But if I can get it up high enough, then I can do just one straight piece pretty much all the way back and not have to do like what they did and have it like a fucking roller coaster. Which would be nice because it'd be a lot less time, and I can just run that straight back to here, put a muffler in, and then we're back to the thing. I don't know if I would probably have enough to do some sort of over the axle setup. Well, we can sit and speculate all day about it, but you never know until you start actually doing it. So let's start ripping this off, and we'll just cut these right where I explained earlier and start test fitting things up, see where they want to be, and you know, just get to work. Nothing to it but to do it. Okay, now before I do anything hasty, I want to double check that these are in fact 2.5 inch, because if they're not, that kind of screws up the entire plan. Alright, sick. On this one you can see how earlier, if you remember, I was talking about how it kind of kicked out. Right there you can see it, so I'm going to try and cut it right in here. I don't know, I might try it here first just to see how things fit up. Just going to hack both of those and then just start mocking things up and kind of see where we end up, because this is all kind of like a free-flowing art piece right now. So just keep going, see where we end up. So the passenger side, it's wanting to kick down kind of like this, so I'm gonna have to figure out a way I want to angle it up some more. The driver's side looks like it'll work pretty dang good, but I might take quite a bit out of this 90 so that it'll tuck up. Let's see, so that this will kind of tuck up here. Swag. So that the pipe will tuck up a little closer to this bell housing, and then that way it's just not hanging down so far. I mean, it'll just be easier to keep everything up closer if I just start off up, you know, closer. So I think that's kind of what we'll do there. So I'm going to want that kind of like there, give or take. So unfortunately that means I'm going to have to hack off a pretty good chunk of this, and I don't know, might cut that side off and see. Alright, so the passenger side is going pretty well. I'm holding off on the driver's side right now just because it's going to have to tie into the passenger side. So right now what I've got going is it's just kicked down. I got it as close to the floor as I could get it. And then for the most part, I'm going to be able to just use this entire straight piece. I might try to get a couple bends in here just to have a little bit more clearance on this cross member. Just because I don't want that to like constantly hit it, and then I might try to kick this down and towards me just a little bit. That way there's just a little bit more room for a muffler, because right now it's pretty close to where this heat shielding is. Nice. It looks like this is going to be about where it needs to be. I can't get it too much closer to the transmission. Let's see. I mean, that'll be pretty close to there. There'll be maybe 3/4 to an inch gap there. And then I'm just going to have to get another piece and probably kick it kind of up into this main pipe. And that's where it'll get kind of fun. Theoretically, I could just be that guy that just goes straight into it, but I'd like it to like direct the flow a little bit better. And then something I'll worry about later on is a joint for it, because if it's going to be an entire exhaust system, it'd be nice to be able to take it apart in sections. So probably like in here somewhere where it'd be easy to get to bolts, I'll put something kind of like this right there, something kind of like that, and make it so it comes apart. But yeah, we're making progress, just trying to kind of figure it out as we go, and then trying to keep you guys updated. It's gonna be simpler than you would think for like a custom exhaust system, but I mean that's because I'm making it simpler than it really should be. But yeah, just gonna keep on keeping on. Alright, so I got the crossover all fish mouthed. It would be nice to have like an actual tool to use for it, but I think it'll be pretty dang close. So you'll want to be about there. Gonna have to have that on a little bit of an angle just because this was made out of a U-bend and not a 90, so like that radius would have wanted to keep turning. But if I just leave it down like that, it is pretty freaking close. Yeah, that'll work just fine. And then once I get this main like Y pipe made, I'll get it all finished welded, and then we'll continue on with it. Alright, so the crossover is all tacked up. Yeah, I was using electrical tape to hold the pipe up. I'm gonna let it cool off a little bit, and then I don't know. I'm really worried about it distorting too much and then being a pain in the ass to fit up into the studs here. So I'm gonna let it cool off for sure. I'd like to get a few more tacks on it before I pull it off and then finish weld it, and just take my time finish welding it, because I've had pipes and stuff like that and just other projects distort, and it sucks. And for it to distort on something like this where both sides have to slide into the studs, that would suck. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world, of course, but it would just be a big pain in the ass. That's why a lot of people will put those like flex pipes here, just like, you know, it's a pipe that flexes. That's why a lot of people put them there, just for just to make it a little bit easier to get on and off in case there is any distortion. But I'm trying to build this with stuff that I have laying around, and I don't think we have any of those. I want to let it cool off, pull it off, finish weld it, and then get started on the rest of the exhaust. Alright, so the crossover's done, and I'm starting work on the actual tailpipe. So you can see it is all finished welded, and I'll be the first to tell you, a lot of these are really crappy welds. There's a few like good parts, but man, I was having a heck of a time just getting in a rhythm. But it's all together. I got this rag here just as a spacer to keep this thing off the cross member, and I did pound in right there a little bit so that it kind of has some relief there. You can kind of see where it starts to distort, but the pipe is still nice and straight. And then all I've got to do now is just get a muffler, which is just, I'm just going to run down to generic auto parts store and grab whatever 2.5-inch muffler they have, and then I'll just throw that in. I'm not sure if I'm going to weld that or not, and then I'll just make a turn down. And then I think at that point we'll probably call it good, because the main thing is just this was undrivable with the basically the open manifolds. It sucked. So I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out so far. I mean, it's much more of like a factory style exhaust system, but I mean, that's kind of what I was looking for. This thing is pretty much a daily driver, so there's no reason for this to have like ridiculous race car exhaust system. And like I was saying earlier, eventually I'm gonna get rid of this thing, so I don't want it to have any like things that people are gonna give me shit about, like, oh, it's too loud, I can't put my kids in the back. I'm gonna put my kid in the back so I know it's not gonna be too loud. So I'm gonna go grab a muffler and finish this up, and then we will start wrapping this up. Not much left to do. Alright, the exhaust is all finished up. Muffler's just in there, got a quick little turn down made, just slash cut a 45. Yeah, everything's looking pretty good. So I think all we gotta do now is just drop it down and listen to how it sounds. Hopefully it sounds pretty decent. As long as it's not like super trashy and horribly exhaust leaky, I think we'll just call it good. Alright, we got this thing back on the ground. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous. Moment of truth. It sounds like a pretty stock truck. It's surprisingly peppy for a big girl. Wow. Oh man, the Suburban is like the perfect cruiser. Suburban is good. I like this thing. I still think I'm gonna have to get rid of it eventually. But I think that's gonna do it for today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. We'll see you next time.